Hello and welcome to this self-discovery topic video all about focus and where you place your focus in life. And so basically this video came about off the back of a webinar, or like I don't know if it's called a webinar really. It was a live event that I was on for about 5 hours recently with Matthew McConaughey. Yeah, the actor, the American actor. So if you didn't know, he's actually gone into personal growth and personal development, and he's written a book called Green Light. So if you haven't read that, then check that out. It's an awesome book. And he recently did a live event with Tony Robbins, Trent Shelton. I've got notes down below to remember everyone's names. Forleo. So these are all like big names in the personal development and coaching industry. Okay, and it was awesome. So I did think it was about an hour to start with, but it ended up being about 5, maybe 6 hours. And at the end of it, I was so tired, but I'd taken so many notes because there were so many like golden nuggets of wisdom in there. And yeah, I've taken like the highlights and the bits that were about focus, because I do my little mini readings in the car and I post these on Instagram and TikTok. For those who don't know, hop on over, all my details are in the description box. But if you want to watch those, they're little sort of 2-3 minute videos in the car, and I do little card readings. And a couple of times now, there's been a message about where you place your focus. And some of the things that came up in that live event were they were about that, and I was like, oh, this is exactly what I was talking about. And it kind of goes into a bit more in-depth information. So I wanted to share some points, and I wanted to share some kind of analogies as well, to kind of help you understand it a bit better, and how you can improve your life and start to attract the things that you really want in your life as well, by just changing the way that you think and the way and what you focus on. Okay. So the first thing that I want to use, I guess, is now they didn't say this in the live event, but what came to me from what they were saying was a memory of when I was doing my driving lessons many years ago. I was doing my driving lessons, and I don't know if you've experienced the same thing in driving lessons, but when your driving instructor tells you to focus on the road ahead, okay, focus on what's in front of you and obviously, you know, around you. But if you focus on the curb, or you focus on a tree, for instance, that's the way that your car's going to steer. And my driving instructor actually practiced this with me. He said, look, I want you to look at that tree over there, and then, you know, just drive as normal. And my car literally, like, the car literally steered towards the tree. And he went, see, like, that is basically what will happen. The things that you focus on, you will steer towards. Okay. So yeah, you will also attract that as well. So if you focus on sort of, you know, negative thoughts, negative feelings about people, you're going to attract those things from people. Okay, so it's the same principle. So that was just the first thing I really wanted to just kind of hone in on. It was quite a good little thing to think about there. Okay, and then we had so Trent Shelton is an amazing personal development coach, or I don't know what he calls himself, but I've never actually heard of him before. I've never seen any of his stuff, and literally he blew me away with his talk on there. It was only, I think, probably about 20 minutes to half an hour max, and my heart just completely opened after I heard this man talk. He was just incredible. The way he explains things is really good, and I love using analogies. I love using metaphors and visions and all these different things to help you understand something. And one of the things that he mentioned was that when you have a vision for yourself, when you have a goal for yourself, and other people don't really understand your vision and your goal, and then you can be like torn away from that or deterred away from it by what they say and what they think and what they tell you, because of what they've experienced or their views and their opinions. Okay, and I did actually talk about this on one of my card in the cards as well. So it's just funny how all of these little topics that have been coming up recently were actually like, you know, talked about in this event and then gone into deeper. So I love that. So yeah, so let me just kind of share something that Trent Shelton used. He said, when you go to the opticians and they give you a prescription for your eyesight, that's your specific prescription, okay, for you only. I mean, obviously, you know, some people are going to have the same prescriptions, but like, you know, they give that to you personally, don't they? You know, so you choose your glasses, and you know, when sometimes you get new glasses and then someone goes to you, oh, you've got new glasses, oh, let me try them on. And he used this analogy and he said, you know, when people try your glasses on and they're like, oh, how can you see out of these? Then he said, you know, then it's my prescription. It's not, you're not meant to see out of these. Like, you know, you're not meant to have my vision. And I just love that. I was like, because he said, like, you know, it's your vision, not theirs. So when they try to tell you, like, oh, you know, don't, oh, you shouldn't do that, or oh, you're not going to be able to do that, or that's really hard, or oh, you know, what are you doing that for? And people will say this because they cannot see your vision. That vision is for you only. Okay, you've been given that vision and that goal because it's yours. Okay, and often what people do is they then sort of say, you know, they kind of then retreat and they go, oh, okay, then I won't do it, I'm not good enough. And they listen to what other people think and say, and just don't follow their visions and don't follow their goals and don't follow through on it. Okay, so don't let that happen. It's your vision and not theirs. Okay, then for some reason, I don't know whether they mentioned a lift or I just got, I don't know, sometimes I kind of like get channel things come through myself and I kind of write them down as I'm listening to things, and I'm like, oh, I'll talk about that because I got like an image of something, kind of like the driving lesson thing. But I got one, this time I got one of a lift. So when you go into a lift or elevator, however, whatever you call it in your country, and you go in and you know where you're going. Majority of the time, you know what floor you want to go on. Okay, you know you want to go to level 9, say for instance, I don't know, right? You know this. So you go in and you press number 9 and you go up to level 9. Okay, sometimes you might have to, you know, go up, go down and then go up or whatever. But you know, you wouldn't go in and select level 1 if you wanted to go to level 9, would you? Okay, so and this is also like not letting other people choose what level that you want to go on. So same thing, like, you know, you go into a lift and you go, yeah, well, I want to go on level 9, but you know, you might as well press level 1 for me. And that's kind of what this is about. It's like letting other people choose your destination. Choose where you want to go. Don't let that happen. Okay, you want to go to level 9, you press level 9 and you go to level 9. Okay. Okay, then next up we have Tony Robbins, who is quite a big name and a lot of people know him. He talked about focusing on, or you know, what do you focus on? Do you focus on what you already have, or do you focus on what's missing in your life? Now, this was a bit of an eye-opener for me because I have been working on this and I thought I was getting better at this. I thought that, you know, I've started to focus on things I want rather than what I don't want. And I did, again, do a little video about this as well recently. So I was like, wow, they're talking about this. And it's amazing how, you know, my little cards have pulled through these messages. And obviously, you know, the universe wants people to hear these messages, and then I can now go into them in more detail because of this event. It's just really good. So yeah, so he said, you know, do you focus on things that are missing in your life and things you don't have, or do you focus on things that you actually have and what you want? Okay. And he said to, well, I don't know if he said this or whether I just thought about this, to write a list. Okay, now if you really want to, if you're not sure what you focus on mostly, really good thing to do is to write a list. So write a list of, the things that you know that you focus on that are good in your life. So say, for instance, recently you've been out in your car and you've been really grateful for having a car. You know that you focus on what you have. So, I focus on the fact that I have a car that gets me around, and I know that I do that, right? You have a loving family, you have amazing friends, and you are grateful of that, and you know that you think about that a lot. You can write that down in your, I know that I focus on having good friends, having my family around, okay? But then write a list of the things that you know that you focus on that are missing, the things that you know that you focus on that you don't have, okay? So for me, for example, at the moment, I have a lot of things in my house that I'm not happy about, and I know I focus on that a lot. I know that my car has lots of issues, and I focus on that a lot. Things like that. So I wrote these things down, and write them down. Be really honest with yourself, okay? Really honest. And then count them, and see which area you have the most in, which section, sorry. Okay, so that would just be an awareness exercise that you can do to tell yourself, am I mainly focusing on the things I don't have and that are missing, or am I mainly focusing on things that I actually am happy about and things that I, am grateful of and maybe want, okay? And then I thought about, well, what about if you don't know what you want? Because a lot of people don't know what they want, okay? I've certainly been in, there's certain areas that I still don't, not 100%, know what I want. And I thought, well, how do you get clear on this? How do you get clear on exactly what you want? Because another thing that came up in one of my cars was that, you're not going to be able to focus on or take action on or receive things or ask for things if you don't know what you want, okay? You're not going to be able to ask. I think I used this as an example in one of my readings. I was like, you don't call up a pizza place and say, oh, I don't know what I want, just choose a pizza for me, right? So you're not going to be able to ask for the pizza that you want if you don't know what you want, right? So how do you do this? How do you get clear on what you want? Well, just going back to the lift scenario, do you walk in and, someone like is in there and they say, what floor do you want? And you say, oh, I don't know, just choose one for me, right? You're not going to go anywhere, okay? So one of the things you could do is maybe speak to someone and and just ask them questions. Say like, well, what's in this area, what's in that area, like what type of job do you do, like what and this has just come to me, it's not actually on my notes. I've just gone off on a tangent now. Ask some questions about what they do, like what their job's like. If you're interested in what they do, maybe just get a feel for what they do and see if that's something that might suit you. Ask them about their relationship, what their partner's like. They're really happy, like, what do they do, like how do they treat you, and then feel into whether there's something you want for yourself or not. This is just something that's just come to me just now. However, like I say, it's not on my notes. I've just kind of gone off on one. So that's something that just dropped in. But also look at the list. Look at your list again from before of what's missing, or look at the area of what's missing, okay? Because that's where you'll find what you want. So you're writing down, oh, my car's always playing up, or there's this wrong with it, blah, 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 blah. Well, you know that you want a car that is safe and like healthy, like working, has no issues. List all the things that you don't like about it, and then that tells you what you want, okay? List all the things that you're not getting in a relationship, what's missing in your relationship. Well, then you know that you need certain things in your relationship, and you know what's important to you. So that missing list is actually going to tell you and guide you, what you want, guide you into what you want. Another thing you can do is look at what you want. So once you've got your list of what you want, ask yourself why you want it. And this is really, really insightful, right? This is an exercise by Dean Graziosi, who is also on the event. Another amazing person to listen to and follow. So he says to do an exercise called the 7 whys. I think it's called the 7 whys, or 7 levels of why, or something like that. And so what you do is you write down what you want. You know, I want a new house, and you get an idea of what sort of house you want. I want a new car. I want a certain type of relationship. I want more friends, or whatever it is, okay? Ask yourself, why do I want this? Or why is it important to me to have blah, 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 okay? That's number 1, why. Then ask yourself again. So you get the answer to number 1. Go with what comes up, whatever comes up first. It doesn't matter what comes up, just go with it, okay? Don't overthink it. And then write why, and then use the answer to the first question. So, okay, why do I want a relationship? Because I want to feel loved and cared for. And then why do I want to feel loved and cared for? Or if that doesn't bring up anything, why is it important for me to be loved and cared for? And then literally keep asking why, and they give 7, but in my experience, I've usually got to about 4 or 5 and had the complete answer, like the actual deep down answer as to why I want this, okay? And usually it brings up emotion. So I did this the other day. I did it on work, I did it on relationship, I did it on home, I did it on my car, I did it on money, I did it on travel, right? I did it on quite a lot of areas. And the answers that came out were just so, like, they just made me so emotional, and they connected to my past, and they brought up so much truth. And I was like, wow, like some of them you wouldn't even connect. They don't connect at all if you look them up, if you look at them on paper and you're like, well, that doesn't make sense, but deep down it makes sense, okay? And it's usually something to do with your values, okay? What's really important to you as a person, and your values. And my friend, I just want to give a little shout out to my friend Serena, actually, who's just done a podcast episode, and I shared it on share it on Instagram stories, Instagram stories and my Facebook page. I shared the link, but what I'll do is I'll actually put the link down in the description box this time. So I really urge you to listen to this podcast, because it's all about, you know, really following who you like, following what you following your values, and who, like, being completely authentically you in life and in work, and not choosing just, you know, looking at what you actually want and like thinking, do I actually want a flashy car? Do I want a big house? Or, you know, is it more important to me to just be comfortable and safe, and, you know, have my family around, and what's really important to me? And she talks about this, and she talks about loads of other things in terms of work and business and mental health and being authentically you and all of that. But it's an amazing podcast. So just wanted to mention that. And, you know, if you feel drawn to listen to it, it's about an hour, but do dedicate the time, because it's just worth it. So I'll pop the link down below. But yeah, just thought I'd give her a shout out there, because she is amazing. Okay, and then finally, I've put to focus on what feels good and what makes, can't read my own writing, what makes you feel more confident. So Tony Robbins talked about this, I think, or maybe Dean, I can't remember. But he said, do more of what you're good at. Okay, so instead of kind of focusing on what you can't do well and what doesn't make you feel confident, like have a look at the people and the situations in your life that are making you feel less confident, and stop doing those things, basically. Don't put so much focus on those things. Don't hang about with those people, or don't keep doing that thing that makes you feel, you know, less confident, or things that you're not so good at. Focus on the things that do make you feel confident and do make you feel good about yourself, and where you're using your most valuable skills and what people have told you you're good at, do more of. Okay, because this will all build your confidence and it will all kind of guide you into your next steps and move you forward. So finally, I just want to quickly share this card. I should have shared it at the start really, but this card came up in a reading that I've just done for someone, and I just thought it was really relevant to this video. So it's the crumbling. Okay, and if you see here, it's got like an old crumbling down building. Okay, those are sort of like rubble and just looks really dark and everything. And you've got like the thunder up here, but then you've got like beautiful flowers and like waterfalls and the lightning. It's like in a colourful sky. And I just sort of said, I said to my friend who did the reading for, I said, you could look at this dark building, or you could choose to look at all the beauty around it. Okay, so where are you going to focus? So I just wanted to share that, just to kind of give you a bit of a vision or image to go with it. But yeah, so hang on, let me just see if I've missed something. I feel like I missed something. Yeah, I have. I thought I wrote something on the back and I was like, yeah, I think I'm missing something. I was going to end on this, but I'm not. Okay, so Matthew McConaughey. Yeah, I did miss the main guy who was doing the event and who it was like based around. He wrote a book, as I say, about green lights. And he talks about red, amber and green lights. Now, I'll be completely honest, I haven't read the whole book, but I've got an idea of kind of, what it's all about. And I've read most of it, just not all of it yet. But he talks a lot about kind of how your red lights can sometimes be green lights. And, sometimes we get things that stop us in our way, stop us in our tracks, or, things that go wrong in our lives, and how they can, teach us things and actually move us towards things that are green lights to us. Okay, and I want to just quickly talk about the fact that I kind of like tied this in, and I think I'm sharing this now because of the timing is just perfect, basically. So the other day I had a I wasn't going to mention this, but I had like a check in the post randomly, which was like a tax rebate, and it wasn't like loads, but it was, it was money, and I was like, oh, nice, that's nice, didn't expect that. So that was like a green light, it was good, Then I had I bit into a yogurt bar at work, and I've had like a broken tooth for 20 years. Okay, so 20 years ago I fell on the floor, smacked my tooth, and half of it came off, and it stayed in there for 20 years. So I was really grateful of that. However, I would often like notice it on my pictures and on my videos, and I would be like, oh, I can really tell that I've got a broken tooth. And I didn't like it. Nobody else would notice it, but I did. You do that, don't you? And I was just a bit insecure about it. Anyway, so I bit into a yogurt bar, and I've eaten these yogurt bars many, many times, and I've bitten into much harder things over the years, and and nothing's happened. Well, I was at work and I bit into this yogurt bar, and my filling came off. So I had a filling put on it and stayed in for 20 years, and then it just came off, and I ended up swallowing it, which wasn't nice. So I was like, oh, like great, and I thought, well, there's my money gone that I just got, instantly. What do I focus on? Focus on the negative there. And I was like, oh, and I'm going to talk about this in a second, what I could have focused on. But yeah, so I was into like, oh great, like I'm really panicking about my tooth, thinking, oh, I'm going on holiday next week, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it done in time. And then thankfully phoned the dentist, they got me in 3 days later. And I started to think, and I did this event, and I'd had the thoughts of the event in my mind, and I was thinking, like, what do I focus on? Am I going to focus on the fact that my tooth's broken, or that my money's gone, or or am I going to focus on the positives? And I thought, I'm going to focus on the positives. I'm going to focus on the fact that the universe gifted me with this money. Now I can use it to get my tooth done, so that's good. And I'm going to focus on the fact that I've wanted my tooth done for so long. And I now have the opportunity to make it so much better. I now have the opportunity to go in, and I have the most amazing dentist at the moment. She is amazing. Like, she's so funny. Like, I get to have her do it, and like I can just be honest with her and say, can you make it like look much better than the other one? And you know, and she's done it perfect, and I'm so happy, and I can't stop smiling half the time. So I'm really grateful. And so that red light, the red light of having my tooth broken, turned into a green light. Okay. And you have that amber moment in between. You have that amber light in between. You have a choice at that amber light. Okay. You have a choice to decide what you focus on. So whenever you get presented with, you know, an opportunity, I'm going to call it an opportunity, so it's the best way to think of it. Not a challenge, or, you know, a negative thing, or, you know, an obstacle, or, I mean, you can call them that. Call them opportunities, because they're amber lights, and you can say, well, this has happened. How am I going to choose to see it? I'm going to choose to see the positive in it. I'm going to choose to see the negative in it, the lack in it, or the gain in it. How am I going to choose to see that? Okay, so I'm going to leave you with that. And I think that's actually, I'm glad that I remembered. I had something written on the back. And yeah, I hope that helps. Let me know in the comments if it resonated. As I say, I'll pop the link for the podcast down below. Please do subscribe to my channel for readings, for any more of these types of videos. Please hop on to my other socials, so Instagram, TikTok, if you want to see my cards in the car, the little mini ones, and any other content that I share. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day, week, year, whenever you come back. I will see you then. See you later. Bye.